everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. Happy Tuesday to all my friends. I hope that you're having a fantastic day. Just a reminder that this week we are talking about mentally healthy during the holidays, and specifically Tuesday. Today we are speaking about abide by your budget. But before we dive into the episode, again, happy Tuesday. I hope that you're having a great day, whether your day is just beginning, in the middle, or towards the end. I hope that it's going really well. If you're having a tough day or you just want to throw in some separation between the first part of your day and the next part of your day, like you want to just be like, the first part was crappy. I want the next part to be great, be amazing. I have full belief that it can be awesome. Then I encourage you to take the 5-minute reset, which is to take at least 5 minutes to be by yourself. It allows you to reset, reboot, restart your day right then and there. It allows you to take a break from any issues, problems, burdens that you have that are weighing you down and preventing you from actually having a good day or feeling like you're having a good day. Because sometimes you can have a good day, but you're seeing it from a negative perspective. And if you take a break from those things, and even take some time to solve some problems, come up with some resolutions, then it'll feel like you have actually had a good day. It'll feel like you've actually worked through the struggles and the hard things and then come out on top and felt productive and like you accomplished something. You know what I mean? I also always encourage everyone to come up with a list of at least 4 things that you are grateful for. Those can be big things, small things, medium-sized things. You can be grateful for, receiving an early Christmas card in the mail. That's awesome. You can be grateful that officially Christmas has started for just about everyone now, and that feels really good. You can be grateful for all those awesome Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals that you recently got, or maybe you are grateful that you got so much done and so much rest over that long holiday weekend if you celebrated Thanksgiving, and you're just pumped to get through the next 30 days until, actually more like 24, until it's time to take another small break for Christmas. You can literally be grateful for anything, which means the list is never ending. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's what we like to see. And last but not least, make sure that you're feeling at least neutral, if not positive, about the rest of your day, because you just created a gratitude list, which will demonstrate to you that there are still amazing, wonderful, positive things in your life happening. And it's easier to just take the time to focus in on those things, despite any hard, tough, terrible things that are going on in your life. I understand that we all go through hard crap. We all go through things that just seem like the biggest struggles in the entire world. I am not here to diminish those things, but to encourage you to spend more of your time on focusing in on the positive things that will help you get through those hard times. But I do hope that you're having a fantastic day on this wonderful Tuesday. Again, like I said at the top of the show, we are talking about mentally healthy during the holidays. That is the theme of the week. And today specifically, we're going to be talking about abide by your budget. And again, this might seem a little different for this podcast. However, it is proven that money, finances, budgeting, all that kind of stuff can cause a lot of stress, anxiety, and just so many intense feelings, especially during the holiday time where lots of money is flying around. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the episode. I know from personal experience how mentally challenging it can be to deal with purchasing gifts and participating in activities during the holiday season if you feel like your finances are tight. There's definitely been days and times and years where, my budget was real tight, real tight. I know there were times where we overextended ourselves, and there's times where we really had to hone it in because we just didn't really have that much money, right? We were just tapped out. It was just a hard year. And I think as we became more of adults and became more on top of our finances, we realized that it's the best thing to do. Here is just a quick tip. If you do struggle with having enough money, or as much money as you would like, rather, during the holiday season to spend on presents and events and things that you like to do, which is what I like to do because my love language is giving gifts, is to save throughout the whole year. Now, my husband instituted this because he's really good with money and finances, and so he was like, okay. And I think it was just a struggle for him to have to spend so much money at the end of the year and then have to recoup that on whatever credit cards we may put it on, or just really tap out our bank account and then have to recoup that for the next couple months. And that's really overwhelming, especially if you are working paycheck to paycheck, or if you have kids and that's like extra expenses and you're afraid of surprise expenses coming up, that can all cause so much stress. So what he instituted was us saving a certain amount of money every single month so that by the time that November hit, when I like to start shopping, I would have enough money that we already pre-planned in our budget for Christmas, and I would use that. And, as the years have gone on, the budget has been able to fluctuate a little bit so that I'm able to spend more here and there, not all the time, but sometimes. And that just allows you to already have a plan already going throughout the whole year, so it's not a surprise when you want to go and spend those funds. So that's just a little tip if you need like an idea of how to have all that money at the end of the year without it like really hurting your credit cards or your bank account or whatever it may be. But yeah, it can cause so much mental stress having to purchase gifts and pay to go out to events. And I understand that during this pandemic, it might not be that big of a deal to even worry about having to pay for events to go out to because a lot of us cannot do that. But you still want to buy presents. Some of us still want to buy presents. You still want to give to others. And maybe you want to even indulge in some shopping yourself because of what I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show, talking about like upcoming sales. And I feel like this year was a little bit different because people were running sales much earlier because of the pandemic. So, but it still causes stress because if you don't take the right actions beforehand to set yourself up with however much money you want to spend, or how you're going to figure out what is right for you to do versus what other people are trying to encourage you / force you to do, it can be really overwhelming. So it's important to remember that you should be the only person that is putting any financial pressure on yourself in regards to anything. If anyone else is doing this and you are feeling forced to spend a ton of money on others or go all out on activities and such, you need to rethink that relationship. You need to consider the fact that why is it necessary for this person in your life to be so forceful on you to spend money, especially if they know like your financial situation, if you are open about that, or if you're very close to this person. And if they are trying to push you outside of your comfort zone of spending, then they're not helping you be very financially responsible. And that just means that they aren't actually looking out for your best interests, right? Like, because no friend that actually truly cares about you is going to encourage you and push you to spend more than you actually feel you can safely, right? Because there's like definitely, I feel like within spending, you budget things and you make priorities, but then there's like this safe zone that you can stay in, and then there's this other zone where you're like, okay, well, it might be a little bit out, but maybe I can step out just a little bit, and then you just like fall over into the red zone where it's just like no bounds, you're done, and you are going to have major regrets and consequences because you've overspent. So, and again, I feel like it's like the end of the safe zone into that yellow zone where the stress starts to build, unless you could already foresee it coming, because again, people in your life are trying to force you to spend more money than you want to. Again, you should rethink those relationships. That is just my suggestion. And there's absolutely no reason for you to overextend yourself financially, because it may seem fine in the moment. It might be like, okay, I'll just throw it on a credit card, or I'll just borrow money, whatever it may be, but you will regret it in the long term. You just will, because let's say you have trouble, like some sort of other expense comes up and you have trouble paying down your credit card, and you just racked it up to the high sky because you thought that you would be fine. Or maybe you were expecting some sort of Christmas bonus to pay that credit card off, but it didn't happen because you can't predict the future, unfortunately, despite how locked in it seemed that it was, despite what your boss or your company may have told you. especially during a pandemic. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know you don't know, businesses could just shut right down, right? And then, or decide to pull back on those kind of things because they want to be able to pay you your regular wage, and giving bonuses is just not a thing right now. I don't know, but those possibilities are true outside and inside of a pandemic, to be honest with you. You can't just necessarily take someone's word for it. You have to just spend what you have and be responsible for that. So you will regret it if you decide to overextend yourself, or if you're going to ask for a loan and say you can't pay that person back or pay the bank back or whatever it may be. It's just not worth it. And you don't want the mental stress that having to pay off heavy loaded credit cards and or loans would bring you if you went that route, because again, it's just this thing that's kind of being held over your head where you're continually thinking about the fact that you have to pay that off, but then what if a surprise expense comes up, or like if your car breaks down, or if you get really sick, or you need to help a friend that really, really is in need. It's important to really think those things through and consider, wow, what if these, I know they're what if scenarios, and a lot of people don't like to live their lives in what ifs because life is so uncertain and we should go with the flow and be flexible, which I totally agree with. However, I think it is being a little bit irresponsible to just throw all of that out the window. At least consider a few of them and have savings so that if something tough does happen, you are safe and you won't have to worry as much. And let me reiterate that if someone is pressuring you to spend more than you believe you can, or is acting like they would be disappointed with a more affordable gift, you may need to rethink that relationship. If anyone is coming at you being like, oh my gosh, I hope that you get me a really expensive gift because that's what I want, or if they're like, maybe you're out shopping and they're like, oh, I'm so glad that you're probably not going to get me that because that is so cheap, and when you're actually thinking of getting them that, or if people like to play it off like, oh my gosh, I got you the best thing. It was so expensive, but it was great and it's so worth it. And I feel like that's kind of like a peer pressure way, passive aggressive way of someone being like, so just so you know, I spent a lot of money on you, so you need to spend a lot of money on me, where that is not what this time of year is about. So you might need to rethink those relationships, because that's not a fair place for someone else to put you in, because the whole point of gifting is to give what you feel like you want to give from the heart. And there will always be scenarios where there'll be someone that will gift more than the other person, and that's okay, because it is based on what you think that person will like and what you can personally afford and what you think would be best for them. That's fine. So today I want to share with you some ideas on how to lower the mental stress that comes with financial pressure during the holidays. And I have 5 ideas to share with you. So idea number 1 is to swap gifts for get-togethers. So if spending gives you anxiety, find a way to not do gifts, but do a get-together or an experience instead. I understand that experiences and even get-togethers can be limited. However, maybe you can do like a IOU, or schedule it like maybe in January if you feel like wherever you live will be more open during that time. Or if you are able to get together, just be like, hey, let's just not exchange gifts this year. Instead, let's decide to get together and have a party where we bake cookies or make gingerbread houses or watch movies, make dinner for each other, right? Or maybe the gift is, instead of swapping gifts, you're like, okay, come over to my house and I'll make you dinner, and then I will come over to your house and make dinner, or vice versa, or however you want to do it. That is a better way to do that, as opposed to having these big expectations with having to go out and purchase a gift, especially if you don't feel like you're a really good gift giver anyway and you don't really like giving gifts. That's totally fine. That's not everyone's love language, that's not everyone's vibe. It's totally fine. So you can just swap it for like a get together or an experience together, maybe where you live, if you are able to go to the movies or go shopping or do whatever other experiences that are available. Maybe there's an outdoor experience you can do together, like going skiing, snowboarding, sledding, I don't know, just hang out, go ice skating. That's a good one too during the winter time. And really, but if you live let's say if you live in Australia, though, like, you can go to the beach, right? Because it's summertime, and do other outdoor activities. Maybe you can ride horses or go biking or whatever it may be, go camping. You can find something else you can do that will cost you less money and even effort and time. And that might be even more fun than just swapping objects with each other. Idea number 2 is to set a spending limit. So if you want to buy gifts but are concerned with overspending, set a limit for yourself. That's totally fine, and that's what I do. I am provided a budget every single year that I need to stay within, and I do my best to do that. And so if you do want to give gifts but you are very concerned about it going over, just set a budget for yourself. Set a spending limit. Tell yourself, I'm going to spend this much money, and then what I like to do is I get the lump sum of money, and then I like to budget it out per person. So, and it gives me a better idea so that when I'm out shopping for gifts, I don't feel like I overspend on one person and then underspend on another and having to like even that out. No, I've already set a number so that I will come up with many gifts ideas and see if I can find a couple gifts within that amount that I've allotted to that person, and then it's like easy peasy from there. So I would encourage you to go about it that way. If you do want to purchase gifts but you're very concerned with overspending, just set a limit, kind of divide it out per person, and then go shopping and get it done. Idea number 3 is to go the DIY route. So it might be even better if you make an agreement with your friends and fam for everyone to do this so it's an experience for everyone. So let's say that maybe the whole get together and experience thing isn't going to work, but maybe you want to like have everyone agree, hey, let's do DIY gifts. Let's all make each other's gifts, because it'll be more special and more interesting stories when you talk about like how you did it and why you decided to make this for someone as opposed to something else. For me personally, if I was going to do this, I would make someone like a nice dessert or like a baked good or a candy or something like that, because that is what I'm actually good at making. Anything else, probably not. Or I would probably like maybe offer to, which I know is not really DIY, but offer to like deep clean a part of their house or just like do an overall general clean of their house, because I am very good at that. So those are the kind of things that I would offer. And someone else, like a very good friend of mine, would probably offer to make me a blanket because she's really good at knitting, I think, or crocheting. I don't know which one. She also like does like screen print t-shirts and stuff like that. So that is probably what my friend would offer me if we went that route, to just do DIY gifts, which is a good idea. And even if you're not really good at DIY, you can just try it, and then just laugh over the both experiences that you guys had in trying to do something really special for the other person. Idea number 4 is to set priorities. So make sure you set your priorities for what you want to spend on for the season. So make sure you come up with an idea of how much the gifts will be. Again, when I was talking about setting a spending limit and coming up with a budget, that would be that. And then any activities or other events so that you can stay within your budget. So another good idea, if you want to take it above and beyond of just coming up with a budget and spending limit for gifts, is to come up with a budget and spending limits for the whole season. So if you are someone that does find yourself going to a lot of events and parties and fun activities and buying gifts, I would, and I understand it during this pandemic, that might not be the case. However, it could still be the case in some areas. So if you do find yourself spending a lot during this month or 2 months of this season, I would encourage you to create a budget for all of the season and then kind of dole it out. So let's say you know your spending budget for presents, and then you know how much you're going to spend like going out to dinner with friends, or how much money it's going to cost to drive to like your parents' house or a friend's house that lives far away. So you need to calculate that. Maybe you have to stay in a town, like maybe if you want to go out of town, or you have to like drive really far and you want to like rent a hotel in the middle, or you have to rent a hotel when you get there, like how much is that going to cost? And how much is it going to cost to go see like zoo lights, which is a thing that we do here in Washington State, where you can go and pay to get into the zoo, and then you just walk around and look at all the lights that they put up in the zoo, animal exhibits and whatnot. Or let's see, there's like other events that happen during Christmas time. Let's say you want to go to a holiday bazaar and you want to have some cash on hand to maybe buy a trinket or two. Like you can budget for that. You can budget for so many things. Or maybe you're going to have like a party and friends are going to come over. You're going to budget for that. Budget if you buy a real live tree for your Christmas tree, which is what we do every year. put a budget for that there, and like maybe new Christmas decor. Like if you are able to just take the time and effort, I understand that it's not necessarily fun unless you are super into numbers and finances, but it can really help you to get down to the nitty gritty, figure out how much you're spending on everything, set a limit, set a budget, and then you won't feel that stress of going over budget and spending more than you wanted to because you've already kind of planned it out but left a little bit of room for flexibility. Idea number 5, and the last idea that I want to share with you today in regards to abiding by your budget, is to remember the reason for the season. That gifts aren't necessary. So the reason for the season for me is, since I am a Christian, it is a celebration of Jesus' birth and how he was born on earth, and how eventually, he came to die for our sins, which is a different holiday, but it's still the celebration of his birth and God blessing the world with him. However, if that is not what you believe, just understand that I see that the other reason for this season is just to be with the people that you love, just to spend time with the people that you care about and really come together and hopefully have forgiveness and love and comfort and joy and such fun times as a unit. And gifts aren't necessary. Like I totally think that you could definitely get through a whole Christmas, and if you just went and hung out with each other, or maybe like spent some money to go on vacation and like hung out together in different times, and then not exchange gifts, that would still be a wonderful Christmas. So you have to remember that Christmas isn't all about spending all the money on everything, overextending yourself, causing you stress to have to shop for gifts and spending all the money on the gifts. No. It's about the people that you love and you care about and that you spend your time with. Remember, that is the reason for the season. That is the primary thing that should always be in your mind and in your heart, and what should be really fueling your desire to do any of the rest of these things, because that is the most important part. So remind yourself of that when you feel like you're about to freak out because of the bill for the gifts or the bill for the dinner or the amount of money it's going to cost to drive states away to visit people. And just know that, okay, well, maybe some of this isn't necessary. Maybe some of it is. And it's all worth it because I get to be with the people that you love. Okay, you guys, well, that's it. That is all I have to say today. Thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Again, my name is Sabrina. Please check the description box for notes for the show, where to find me on Instagram, my email address, where you can send me any questions, comments, concerns, prayer requests, feedback, topic suggestions, or just to say hey, hi, and hello. Also, if you're interested, on my Instagram at Sabrina Joy Perozzo, today I am starting my 24 days of mental health tips holiday edition, where it's kind of like Vlogmas but in short form, where I will be posting a daily quick video, because on your feed post you're only able to post like 1-minute videos, and so it's just gonna be a quick 1-minute video every single day giving a mental health tip that should help you get through the trials and tribulations and struggles that come with the holiday season. So I hope that you can come and follow me and join me over there to get those extra tips in addition to what I talk about here on the podcast. And do not be surprised if some of that information overlaps, because, that's how it is being a creator. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you listening, downloading, sharing with others, coming back. It's so amazing. Just a sneak peek into tomorrow, Wednesday, we are talking about know your limits and set your boundaries. So come back if you're interested in that. But until next time, have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.